Lesson Extra 5. Buddhism and Beauty. Professor J.D. Virasakara, Sri Lanka. Paragraph 1. With the doctrine of impermanence, suffering, and unsubstantiality, anicca, dukkha, anatta, in the forefront, is it possible to speak of a concept of beauty in Buddhism? Has it not often been suggested that Buddhism is a religion of pessimism, and that, with its doctrine of renunciation, Buddhism would have very little to do with notions of beauty? Although these remarks may at first appear to be very convincing, they are far from the truth, and are no more than mistaken generalizations. Paragraph 2. Let us first examine the doctrine of the three marks of existence: impermanence, suffering, and unsubstantiality. The Buddha taught it to his first 5 disciples and recorded it in the Anattalakkhana Sutta as follows: The body, rupa, O bhikkhus, is not the self, atta. If the body, O bhikkhus, were the self, the body would not be subject to disease, and we should be able to say, "Let my body be such and such a one. Let my body not be such and such a one." But since this body, O bhikkhus, is not the self, therefore the body is subject to disease, and we are not able to say, "Let my body be such and such a one. Let my body not be such and such a one." And he further said, "Now, what do you think, O bhikkhus? Is the body permanent or perishable?" "It is perishable, Lord." "And that which is perishable, does that cause pain or joy?" "It causes pain, Lord." "And that which is perishable, painful, subject to change, is it possible to regard that in this way: this is mine, this am I, this is myself? That is impossible, Lord." Paragraph 3. In this manner, the Buddha admitted the presence of suffering in this world, and by a method of analysis, he pointed out to his disciples that attachment to things without a correct view as to their true nature is the cause of suffering. Impermanence and change are inherent in all things. This is their true nature, and this is the correct view. And as long as we are in variance with it, we are bound to run into conflicts. We cannot alter or control the nature of things. The result is, hope deferred makes the heart sick. The only solution lies in correcting our point of view. Paragraph 4. The Buddha has declared that the thirst for things begets sorrow. Tanha jayati soko. When we like persons or things, we wish that they belonged to us and were with us forever. We do not stop to think about their true nature, or, in our great enthusiasm, refuse to think about their true nature. We expect them to survive time, but devour everything. Kalo gasati batani. Youth must yield to old age, and the freshness of the morning dew disappears before the rising sun. Both are expressions of the natural law of change. Paragraph 5. When the Buddha lay on his deathbed at Kusinara, the Venerable Ananda, who had not yet gained true insight and become an arahant, was unable to bear the grief at the death of his master. So, the Buddha, in his admonition to the weeping Ananda, said, "Grieve not, O Ananda, lament not. Have I not already told you that from all good things we love and cherish, we would be separated, sooner or later, that they would change their nature and perish? How then can the Tathagata survive? That is not possible."
It is the philosophy that underlies the doctrine of the 3 marks of existence, or the Buddhist view of life and the world. All Buddhist values are based on this. The Buddha expected of his disciples, both the laity and the clergy, good conduct and good behavior, and decent standards of living in every way. He never lost sight of the fact that they had a part to play in both religion and society. With him, plain living did not amount to a degenerate human experience. In the Dhammacettiya Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya, he clearly expressed what he thought of ascetic life as it was practiced in India at the time. There I see recluses and Brahmins become emaciated and lean, discolored and looking very pale. The veins have become visible all over their body. People will not be delighted to see them, I fear. In the Pali original of this, there is a phrase which is of interest to us. Na chakum bandati janasa dasanaya. This means that they do not catch the eye of the onlooker. Here we have one definite notion of beauty. An object of beauty is something which we are pleased to see. Hence we get the term pasadika, pleasant or pleasing, used over and over again concerning the dress and demeanor of the Buddhist monk. Of personal cleanliness, decency, and decorum, the Buddha spoke in praise, not only for their own sake, but also because of their social implications. Paragraph 7. Among the regulations governing monastic life in Buddhism, many instructions bear testimony to this. Healthy living has been the sine qua non of Buddhism. Aroja parama labha, freedom from disease, the Buddha said, is the greatest asset. This attitude also results in creating an environment which is aesthetically pleasing. And the following passage from the Mahavagga of the Vinaya Pitaka clearly illustrates that the simple life which the Buddha advocated was not without standards. If there are cobwebs in the vihara, the place of residence, let him remove them as soon as he sees them. Let him wipe off the casements and the corners of the room. If a wall that is coated with red chalk is dirty, let him moisten the mop, wring it out, and scour the wall. If the floor is coated black and dirty, let him sprinkle it with water and scrub it so that the vihara may not become dusty. Let him heap up the sweepings and cast them aside. Let him bask the carpet in the sun, clean it, dust it, take it back, and spread it out as it was spread before. Paragraph 8. Thus, we see that the Buddha was no ascetic who attempted to elevate his mind by resorting to forms of conduct which are repulsive and debasing. However, the Buddha maintained that beauty, if one does not understand the true nature of the objects of beauty, may lead to grief and disappointment. It distorts values and upsets the standards of judgment. When beauty is limited to persons and things, greed and pride are the lot of those who possess them. If such things are not common and are not easily obtained, a man may be called upon to engage himself in eternal struggle to safeguard his exclusive possessions. On the other hand, those who have set unlimited values on the coveted objects of beauty, but are not fortunate enough to possess them, will need great strength and courage to resist their feelings of jealousy and enmity towards those who have them. Paragraph 9. Here we are reminded of the story of the Venerable Paka in the Theragatha. One day, going to the village for alms, he sat down beneath a tree. Then a kite, seizing some flesh, flew up into the sky. Many kites were making him drop the meat. Another kite grabbed the fallen flesh and was plundered by another. And the bhikkhu thought, just like that, meat is worldly desires, common to all, full of pain and woe. And reflecting hereon and how they were impermanent and so on, he carried out his mission, sat down for his afternoon rest, and, expanding insight, won arahantship. Paragraph 10. The Buddha does not avoid objects of beauty, nor does he run away from them. He only refrains from making them the basis for strong and individual likes and dislikes. Whatever there is in the world, pleasant and lovable, we are attached to them, and we develop a dislike towards their opposites. Placed in this philosophical setting, the Buddhist recognizes beauty where the senses can perceive it. But in beauty, he also sees its change and destruction.
He remembers what the Buddha said with regard to all component things, that they come into being, undergo change, and are destroyed. Therefore, the wise man acquires a great depth of vision. His admiration is not colored by a greed for acquisition and possession.
The disciples of the Buddha understood this and proved it in their own lives. The Venerable Sabakaka, who, taking from the Buddha an exercise for spiritual culture, went to the Lonagiri Vihara on the banks of Ajakarani. There is beauty all around him, and the peace of the place seems to have satisfied him so much that after his enlightenment he decided to make it his permanent abode. His heart is filled with joy as he describes the beauty of the place, but not what a remarkable sense of detachment he displays. When I see the crane, her clear, bright wings, outstretched in fear to flee the black storm cloud, a shelter seeking to provide a safe shelter, then doth the river Ajakarani give joy to me. Who does not love to see on either bank clustered rose apple trees in a fairy array? Behind the great cave of my hermitage, or hear the soft croak of the frogs, well rid of their undying mortal foes, proclaim, not from the mountain streams, it's time today to flit. Safe is the Ajakarani, she brings us luck. Here is it good to be. In the enjoyment of the beauty, the Venerable Sabakaka is not agitated. What needs to ruffle him and disturb his peace? There is nothing that he is in danger of losing, and nothing that he needs to jealously guard. Paragraph 12. Herein, the mind is freed from pettiness and strife, and man finds contentment and rest. The Venerable Kassapa the Great reiterates the same with great conviction when he says, those upland glades are delightful to the soul, where the kareri spreads its widening wreaths, where sound the trumpet calls of elephants. Those are the braes wherein my soul delights. Those rocky heights with a hue of dark blue clouds, where lies embosomed many a shining tarn of crystal clear, cool waters, and where slopes the herds of Indra cover and bedeck. Here is enough for me who fain would dwell in meditation, rapt, mindful, and tense. Paragraph 13. As we have already stated earlier, the Buddhist does not build a wall around himself to shut out the world of sense experience. He remains within it. Does not the Venerable Kaludayi, who describes the beauty of the season, speak like a poet or an artist? Now crimson glow the trees, dear Lord, and cast their ancient foliage in quest of fruit. Like crests of flame they shine irradiant, and rich in hope, great hero is the hour. Verdure and blossom time in every tree, wherever we look, delightful to the eye, and every quarter breathing fragrant airs, while petals fall, yearning comes for fruit. Paragraph 14. In him, it is not a mere passive eye that only records what is at work, but also a heart that responds and reacts. But he does so with understanding and judgment. And this philosophical attitude of the Buddhist to beauty may be best summed up in the following words of the Japanese poet who sang, on Mount Yoshino, each returning year, how beautiful the cherries blossom gay. Split the tree open wide and then draw near. Tell me where the flower is now, I pray. This is the philosophy of change and continuity.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã theo dõi kênh của mình. Đừng quên ấn nút đăng ký, thích, bình luận và chia sẻ video với mọi người nhé.